The Accra Region Police Command has granted bail to two dancehall artists, Livingston Eche Satekla aka Stoneboy and Charles Niama Mensah aka Shatawale, whose conduct almost marred the just ended Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. The police in the press release have condemned the disturbance and assured the public it will handle the case with the needed attention it deserves. And I'll share that statement with you right now. Now, it says police grants bail to dancehall artists. The Accra Region Police Command has granted bail to the two dancehall artists, namely Livingston Eche Satekla aka Stoneboy and Charles Niama Mensah Shatawale, whose conduct marked the just ended Vodafone Ghana Music Awards night. Preliminary investigations, however, reveal that the disturbance occurred after Livingston Eche Satekla Stoneboy was declared winner of the Reggae Dancehall Artist of the Year and had mounted the stage to receive his award. Charles Niama Mensah, also known as Shatawale, also moved on stage uninvited, provoking a scuffle between them and their patrons. The two, together with one other suspect, Ni Amu, who was seen discharging pepper spray in the auditorium, were all arrested yesterday, that's Sunday, May 19, 2019, placed in lawful custody and have been granted bail to be arraigned before court in due time. Meanwhile, the event organizers are also cooperating with the police in this investigation. The police, in no uncertain terms, condemns the disturbance and assures the public and fans that it will handle the case with the needed attention it deserves. And this is signed by Efia Tenge, who's Deputy Superintendent of Police and Head Public Affairs Unit at the Accra Region. Now, we have been at the police station all day and we'll be bringing you a report on what transpired at the police station when eventually the two of them were granted bail. Now, this beef, though, between Shatawale and Stoneboy is not new. In fact, the two have brandished guns openly in public. We'll take you back now memory lane on who these two dancehall artists are.
Charles Niama, popularly known as Shatawale, and Livingston Eche, also known as Stoneboy, have all identified themselves as fighters of the music industry. They command large followers, mainly the youth. Just 2 years ago, Shatawale honored an invitation from the president, where he spoke to the president about his vision for the industry.
There's been so much talk said the government doesn't support, but I believe we don't help ourselves. And people like me and Stoneboy have sat down to think about it, how we can really go and teach them.
What's the message?
Yeah, so.
Stoneboy was also at the Jubilee House last year to interact with the president.
So I have to definitely make sure I lead the path properly and call on the powers that be to look onto it, at least put an eye to what is happening so that we can all come to a point where we as the sons of the nation can be used for general developmental agendas.
But even though these artists claim to be the saviors of the industry, they have on a lot of occasions done almost the opposite. Let's begin with Shatawale. Last year, Shatawale was invited by the police for indiscriminately firing warning shots.
Wiki, last one.
He came back into the music scenes in 2013 as Shatawale from the previous bandana. After Kaki was announced winner of the Reggae Dancehall Song of the Year, Shatawale released a song, Letter to Chatterhouse, to further jab the event's outfit.
Me no need your awards. Chatterhouse, me no need your awards.
Well, that same year, he apologized.
I will love Ghana. I really want to apologize to Chatterhouse because I never knew they liked me so much. And I want to say, nigga, for what's good, I just want to say, I'm sorry. I'm beyond more. You wanted to talk to Chatterhouse for me and tell them Shatawale is sorry.
This time, Chatterhouse wasn't going to take it lightly. They sued the musician over defamation. The defamation was over this.
Hello. Good evening, Ghana people. I send this thing to Yola Adewade or Ayowade or Ayua Poto Ayua or anything daddy. You are in for trouble.
He went ahead to subsequently have social media fights with Samini, Kaki, Kwalkese, Yapono, Stoneboy, and recently Sarkodie. Stoneboy, on the other hand, had shown in the past few years through songs and interviews that he and Shatta don't like each other. It is said the Stonebwoy song with Yapono was targeted at Shatta Wale.
Why you the disrespect? When you forgive respect, disobey, you go for instead. You for the year award and keep in check.
It therefore came as a surprise when they were both signed by Xylophone. Their beef continued. The two had a brawl at Champs Bar in 2018 where Stonebwoy fired shots. There were no injuries or deaths.
The fracas was on, the saccas was on, and I think, listen, one thing I have to say is that you see in this country, I think so many people are taking the laws into their own hands.
Once again, the two are in the news for all the wrong reasons. The question now is, will this ever end? And when?
Tell me where we gonna run, bro.
Well, Stonebwoy, one of the artists involved in this controversy, has apologized. I'm going to share his apology with you in a bit. And the apology came through. He says, "I would like to extend my sincerest apologies and deepest regrets for the part my conduct played at what should have been the biggest celebration of Ghanaian music last night. In seeking to entertain Ghanaians, I have been the victim of incessant vilification and physical attacks in recent times. My own dear wife has in the past suffered a knife attack." It goes on, at a concert, an attack that had been meant for me and which resulted in her being rushed to a hospital. This, for me, has been quite alarming with regards to my security. Such unfortunate incidents have clearly had an impact on the sense of alertness of my entire team and I. Violence can easily result in trauma, especially violence against those closest to us. Stonebwoy is a very respectful and well-mannered musician, highly spoken of amongst his equals and the masses both locally and internationally, due to the high level of respect I show to all and the high levels of comportment coupled with hard work. I have been going through difficult times, despite the gains my team and I have made musically in raising high the flag of Ghana and also at the 20th Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. I, however, accept that no matter the provocation, there must be an attempt to remain calm. I am taking remedial measures to ensure that there will never be a repetition of such actions. These include improving the security measures within my team. These immediate actions are to ensure that such acts do not recur nor in any way affect my person or my profession. It is my ardent hope that the show will be remembered for the showcase and appreciation of talent and not the few minutes of regretful haywire. I will continue working with Charterhouse and hope this won't in any way affect my relationship with them. To Vodafone Ghana, my sincerest apologies to you for bringing your brand to a low moment like this. As artists, we appreciate what you invest and continue to invest in our talent. To all Ghanaians, let's come together in unity and rise above fueling needless rivalries. I urge all fans to keep calm and desist from all forms of violence. The Stonebwoy, you know, always comes in peace, and I will always advocate for peace. Right, so that's the statement that was sent in by or put out by dancehall artist Stonebwoy. Now, we told you all day they have been in the custody of the police, and we have been at the police station all day to follow their developments. We bring you a report.
The police managed to keep the crowd at a distance, but just when dancehall musician Stonebwoy was being escorted out, they were thrown into a frenzy. But the police managed to control the situation. dancehall musicians Stonebwoy and Shatta Wale had been at the Accra regional headquarters of the Ghana Police Service for many hours. Shatta Wale at a point had to go out to use the washroom before going back into the room where we are told they were being interrogated. The two were kept in separate rooms. Earlier, Stonebwoy was at the Dansoman police station where we saw him in the office of the crime officer of the Dansoman police station. There, he was being interrogated. We tried speaking to his management members, but they wouldn't speak to us. They say the CEO of the Benetton Music Group has already issued a statement apologizing for the fracas at the Accra International Conference Center. So they are not willing to speak to it. Police here at the Greater Accra headquarters of the Ghana Police Service are also tight-lipped. They are not willing to give us any information. Before Stonebwoy was escorted out, Shatta Wale, also in the company of police officers, was also escorted out to an unknown location. There are assertions out there that the rivalry between the two musicians is good for the entertainment industry. There are others who say that it is not healthy competition. I've been finding out from the fans of Stonebwoy and Shatta Wale what they make of the incidents that happened at the award ceremony and whether these assertions are true.
I'm Shatta fans.
Okay.
I love Shatta.
Okay.
I love the two demo. But yesterday the two happened. It's not from Ghana one piece. You understand me? Because that two guys always, we young men, we love them. If they go some people, we are following them.
Well, you're watching Joy News Prime, and there's more on the controversy between Shatta Wale and Stonebwoy, and we're bringing you that. It turns out that there's been this controversy about whether the song that earned Shatta Wale the High Life Song of the Year is actually High Life. We have Professor John Collins, he's a High Life historian. He's been speaking on that.
This way, High Life is quite complicated. You can't. The only thing I would say about it is that it was a fusion of African, Western, and particularly Caribbean music that was put together by Ghanaians about 120 years ago in Fanti.
He says a lot more. And then also in the bulletin, Special Prosecutor's Office staff indicted for allegedly stealing fuel. Joy News is ever learning one of the two indicted is still at post whilst the other has been sacked. We have all that coming up. Do stay tuned in. We're back in a bit. Now, two employees of the Office of the Special Prosecutor have been cited in a case of fuel theft. Investigations by the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amid, revealed that Peter Uswefri, an accountant, and Joseph Dasana, secretary to the Special Prosecutor's Office, drew 10,000 Ghana cedis worth of fuel monthly, even though they are not entitled to it. Joy News can exclusively report that even though the investigations established damning evidence against the two, only the accountant has been sacked. Martin Amidu, secretary, is still at post. My colleague Kojo Yangsing has some more details on the development at the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and he joins me via Skype now. Hello, Kojo. So what do we know about these two OSP employees?
Well, there are two employees involved in this investigation, Joseph Dasana and Mr. Peter Owusu-Efrie. Now, what we know about them is that a memo from the then acting head of investigation, Julius Zodanu, written to Martin Amidu, detailed how Joseph Dasana, who happens to be the Office of Special Prosecutor's secretary, and Peter Owusu-Efrie, who is an accountant, both signed for fuel coupons to the tune of almost 10,000 Ghana cedis, even though, as unconfirmed staff on secondment, neither of them were actually entitled to fuel coupons. Now, the memos show some further discrepancies, particularly with Joseph Dasana's fuel claims. In one day, Mr. Dasana made 2 fuel claims. one of them for 400 Ghana cedis and a subsequent one for 300 Ghana cedis. Both of these claims were for fueling his 2018 Toyota Corolla. Now, Israel, a Toyota Corolla is a vehicle whose tank can only take 250 to a maximum of 300 Ghana cedis worth of fuel at full capacity. Now, once the fuel tank is full, it would have to be driven no less than 600 kilometers before it would require a refill. Yet, somehow, in the space of 24 hours, Mr. Dasana made 2 claims of fuel totaling 700 Ghana cedis to fill this vehicle, well, for this same vehicle.
All right, so could you say what action has the OSP taking since receiving the memo? Because we're learning that one person, one of the 2 officers involved, one has been sacked whilst the other is still at post.
That's correct. Since the alleged stealing of fuel was reported to the Office of Special Prosecutor on the 12th of December last year, well, one of the 2 accused, Mr. Owusu Efriye, has been removed from the Office of Special Prosecutor. He has now been transferred back to the Controller and Accountant General's office from where he originated. But Mr. Joseph Dasana remains the Secretary of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So pretty much they are both still government employees. Neither of them has been prosecuted for this alleged stealing of fuel.
Right, thank you very much, Kojo Yangsing, for that bit of information there. Now, moving on, falling trees, billboards and flooding in many parts of Accra, especially the Ponglo area of Accra, Medina Accra Highway, after rainfall mid-morning Monday. The rains that lasted close to 2 hours left homes flooded as residents scooped out water from their homes. Some drivers who fly the Medina Accra Highway want something done to fix the portion of road, which leaves some drivers having their engines and other car parts affected. Komladom was out there.
Same story, just a different day. Close to an hour of rains and some residents here at Asylum Down in Accra have their homes and shops submerged. This is a part of Accra, Asylum Down, around the Christian Methodist school to be precise, where anytime it rains, flood waters take over people's homes. And here in this compound, individuals are scooping flood waters out of their rooms, their properties, essentially washed away. And as you can see in the background, a man in his mid-60s is attempting to clear out flood waters from this particular compound. Residents tell me this is the situation they have to endure anytime it rains. As many as 10 homes along this stretch were affected. These residents were helping themselves clear up the debris. Mauko has been living here for years and he tells Joy News they are tired of complaining.
Oh, almost like 15 years now.
So he's saying that anytime it rains, this area gets flooded. People have to scoop flood waters from their homes. Mini G solution for the flooding problem area.
Okay, no about a problem. Okay,
so he says the big drain is unable to accommodate all the flood waters anytime it rains, and that is why the water spills over and takes over people's homes and properties. On the Medina Accra Highway around the Shangri-La Hotel, a fallen tree held up traffic for several minutes. Meanwhile, the Okonglo area was also flooded as always. Vehicles had to slow down considerably to be able to drive through the flood. And this is not a pool or the beach side, but this is the middle of a road. And drivers say or complain that this situation has existed for several years, and efforts to get authorities to fix this particular problem have yielded 0 results. And so you can see the vehicles, whenever it rains, this is what vehicles have to go through. They wade through the flood waters here, and sometimes it causes a lot of gridlock on this stretch. These drivers want something done about the situation here before the worst happens.
Oh, since some year,
this area floods every time, and small vehicles are unable to go through.
anytime being sure to be at had to me flooded. Especially, yeah, you see a little cars, you say, matters in the morning when they do all around to me from. Go out here, saloon cars, maybe or into me for
5 years. When they are all sad,
it's been more than 5 years, and sometimes the water gets into the engines of our cars.
It's me broke 2 hours, 3 hours. Oh no, you didn't into me.
Well, meanwhile, at least one politician had his residence also flooded. That's the leader of the APC party, Hassan Ayariga. You see him in your shots there inspecting his fleet of vehicles after the 2 hours of rainfall. He said he found out that 9 of his vehicles could not start. According to him, he has arranged for a mechanic to check his luxury fleet, which includes Land Cruisers, Porsche, Panamera, and a Bentley. Now, another controversy emerging from the weekend's Ghana Music Awards is how dancehall artist Shatta Wale's I Know My Level song was adjudged Best High Life Song of the Year. Many have argued that the song cannot be classified as such and so should not have been nominated in the first place. Indeed, there are others who would want to blame the brawl on the categorization of some of the songs. Well, renowned musicologist and high life historian Professor John Collins agrees. He tells Joy News, though the song has a high life rhythm, that alone is not enough to make it high life, and would rather it is called something else.
I can give you 2 or 3 rhythms that are found in high life. The most common one is ka, 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 the triple offbeat. That's an indigenous Ghanaian rhythm. It's found in Sitchi music, for instance. But we also have another rhythm in high life, which is ka, 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 which is found in Palogo. They call it Jama. The youth now call it Jama. This one...
You mean Panlogo?
Yeah, the Panlogo type of rhythm, yeah. But it's also... The Palogo itself got that rhythm from high life. You know, Palogo was invented in the 1960s, and high life is 120 years old. So Palogo actually borrowed that rhythm from high life. There's also another rhythm that's also used in high life, which isn't in 4/4 time, it's in 6/8 time. So it's based on traditional polyrhythms, and it's this one, if I can maybe play it here. You know, it's based on the Adowa. Okay, this is the Adowa here. Let me see if I can play the Adowa. This is the counter beat, the movement of the feet. So ga. Now, yeah. So you see, the moment you start going into the rhythms and the structure, there's a multiplicity of them. So I can put it this way: high life is quite complicated. You can't. The only thing I would say about it is that it was a fusion of African, Western, and particularly Caribbean music that was put together by Ghanaians about 120 years ago in Fanti. So that's about what I would say, but since then it's evolved into so many forms.
Having heard all that, let's settle on the High Life Song of the Year.
Right.
And it turned out that Shatta Wale's I Know My Level won it.
Yes.
You have listened to that song, or maybe before we actually get into it, I'm going to play it just so our viewers also get to have a feel of what it is. So just hold on a second. I'm going to play I Know My Level. We had a bit of a hitch. We're filming in there and using some light, and it was because it was raining out. So now that the power just went out in there, we decided to come out, and fortunately the rains have ceased, so we can continue the recording here because it gets too dark in there. I can hear the rhythm. Ka, ka, ka,
Yeah,
ka,
yeah.
ka, 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 ka.
Very prominent, yeah.
Which is the high life rhythm.
Yeah, he's using a high life rhythm.
It's got the rhythm in there, Does that make it high life?
Well, this is where the problem occurs. Most certainly, this isn't typical dancehall music. He's Africanized. It's a much more African variety of music than I remember him playing when he was younger. You see, really, you're asking me to disentangle a creative work by a young musician who's actually drawing on different sources. He's definitely drawn on highlife music, but the guitar playing style, it's a very high-pitched solo style that if you listen you will hear it, is actually really drawn from the soukous style, but it could also be the soukous style as played in Ghana. You see what I'm trying to get,
yes.
How difficult it is?
Yeah.
And also he's singing in Pidgin English, which is a Ghanaian language, and some Ga, I believe. So I would actually give him if he wants to claim it as high life, if he's happy to do that, I'm even happy that he's moved from dancehall to, let's call it, high life dancehall or Afro dancehall. He's moved the dancehall away from the Jamaican template to an African template. Whether I would actually call it high life is slight. But I would call it Afro dancehall. I mean, I don't want to...
Afro dancehall?
Yes, rather. But there's a high life ingredient into it because he's a Ghanaian. So he's drawing in all the different things, the West Indian, the high life, and the soukous touch, the Congolese way of playing the guitar that has been popular in Ghana since the 1960s. You know, came in through records.
What I'd want us to do is now go back to the other songs that were nominated in the same category and see whether we were fair or the organizers were fair to the other songs that were found in that category. If we're looking for a high life song of the year, and this one isn't quite like the high life we know, and it's a modern form or a recreation or another rendition, or probably Shatawali's own rendition of high life music.
He blended it with his own style of playing, which is dancehall.
Should we then call it high life and actually award it? I mean, I wouldn't want you to say that now until we go through the other categories, the other songs that are in the category. So we're just going to go through the categories in a bit. Let's say this one's a Yebewunti. Yebewunti, I don't know this one, but that's Kwame Eugene.
Yes, Kwame
Wish
Eugene.
You well, Eba, Eba.
Yeah, that's a contemporary high life. Contemporary high life.
And then Kwame Kumi guitar.
Oh, yes.
Between us.
Yes, yes.
Yes. And then there's Kwesi Arthur Wara.
I don't know them.
And then Killing Me Softly. Then CCTV. Then Thunder.
I wonder if you think say I go leave you.
It's not high life.
This is not high life.
No. No. The guitar is not playing high life style. This is like a African pop, Afro pop. You know, it's an African pop song. This sounds a bit like Kojo Entry style.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's high life in the sense it uses the jammer beat, but again, I mean, don't forget I belong to an old generation, so I expect to hear horns and guitars playing in a style that I recognize. So maybe one can say that the youth, when they use this particular clips or clav rhythm, to them that is the distinguishing point that makes it a high life. In the actual structure of the music, there's nothing high life-ish about it. I mean, I think they call it contemporary high life. They don't call it high life, they call it contemporary high life, because it means it's high life that's absorbed some other contemporary idioms, maybe rhythm and blues and so on, or R&B, I think, is an influence in it. I mean, just going from the current categories, I would have called this Afro pop.
All of them, apart from Betweener by Kumi Guitar.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's the influence of R&B, American R&B, that has come into what we call Afro pop, and I think it's coming into the contemporary high life musicians. But because they call themselves contemporary high life, then it's fine for them to, you know, I mean, High Life has so many shades and varieties, and it's very good that the youth are endorsing High Life and using the name, even if it doesn't sound like the original High Life that maybe older people are used to. Right. Culture has to be recycled by the youth.
Well, Professor John Collins goes on to say that he actually welcomes the attempt by the youth or the young musicians to take High Life music and do something with it. And that's where we wrap up today's bulletin, Joy News edition of Joy News Prime. Up next, we're bringing you a Hotline documentary. Do stay tuned in. I'm Israel Live. Have a good night.